The Amazon rainforest stretched endlessly, a sea of green swallowing the sky. Dr. Elena Carter adjusted her backpack, her boots sinking into the damp earth. She had come here after a cryptic message from her old colleague, Professor Samuel Hayes. His words were urgent. "I've found something extraordinary. Meet me at these coordinates. Time is of the essence." Now, as she hacked through the undergrowth, the jungle felt alive, watching, waiting. The air was thick with the scent of earth and decay, and the distant roar of a jaguar sent shivers down her spine. She reached the coordinates at sunset, only to find an abandoned camp, torn tents, and a trail of blood leading deeper into the jungle. In the chaos, she found a sketch of an ancient temple with one word scrawled beneath it: Xibalba. The name Xibalba echoed in Elena's mind. It was the Mayan underworld, a place of trials and terror. The sketch showed a temple unlike anything she had ever seen, towering stone walls covered in carvings of serpents and skulls. She followed the blood trail, the jungle growing darker and more oppressive with every step. The trail led her to the temple, half buried in the earth and shrouded in vines. The entrance was a gaping maw, flanked by stone jaguars whose eyes seemed to follow her. Inside, the air was cool and damp, the walls adorned with murals of sacrifice and resurrection. As her flashlight flickered, she heard a noise behind her. It was Sam, clutching a golden amulet shaped like a serpent. But before he could speak, something lunged from the shadows, a massive serpentine creature with glowing eyes and fangs dripping with venom. The creature roared, its tail slamming into the temple walls. Sam stumbled, clutching the amulet. "Elena, run!" he shouted, but it was too late. The creature struck again, its tail sending Sam crashing into the wall. He fell unconscious, the amulet slipping from his grasp. Elena grabbed it, feeling a surge of energy as the carvings on the walls came alive. The amulet began to glow and she thrust it toward the creature. A blinding light filled the chamber, and the creature dissolved into a pool of black liquid. The temple fell silent, but the walls began to crumble. Elena dragged Sam toward the exit, the amulet's light guiding her through the chaos. Just as they reached the entrance, a massive stone block fell, blocking their path. The amulet pulsed, and in a flash of light they were outside, lying on the jungle floor. The temple was gone, swallowed by the earth. Sam stirred, his eyes wide with fear. "Xibalba," he whispered. "It's real. And now, it's awake." As they tried to leave the jungle, Elena noticed something strange. The forest seemed to be working against them. Trees shifted to block their path, vines snaked around their ankles, and animals attacked without warning. Even the weather turned violent, with sudden storms flooding their path. The air grew thicker, harder to breathe, as if the jungle itself was alive and angry. Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were being hunted. The amulet in her hand pulsed faintly, as if responding to the jungle's hostility. She wondered if the temple's destruction had awakened something ancient, something that now sought revenge. The deeper they went, the more the jungle closed in, as if it would never let them leave. One night, as they made camp, Elena heard the faint sound of drums echoing through the trees. The next morning, they were surrounded by a tribe of indigenous people, their faces painted with intricate designs. The tribe's leader, an elderly shaman, stepped forward, his eyes filled with both wisdom and warning. He spoke of the amulet, calling it a sacred relic that must be returned to its resting place. "The balance of the world depends on it," he said. But his words were cryptic, and Elena couldn't tell if the tribe intended to help them or stop them. As the shaman turned away, Elena noticed the tribe's warriors watching her closely, their spears glinting in the sunlight. She knew they were running out of time. The serpent creature had been terrifying, but it was only the beginning. As Elena and Sam ventured deeper into the jungle, they encountered more guardians, mythical beasts that seemed to have stepped out of ancient legends. A giant spider with glowing red eyes, a shadowy wraith that whispered their darkest fears, and a colossal jaguar with claws like daggers. Each creature seemed to be testing them, as if the jungle itself was judging their worth. Elena realized they were being led, somewhere, but to what end? The amulet in her hand grew warmer with each encounter, its light flickering like a heartbeat. She wondered if the guardians were protecting something, or someone. Sam had been acting strangely ever since they left the temple. He would mutter, in an ancient language, his eyes glazing over as if he were in a trance. One night, Elena caught him standing at the edge of their camp, staring into the darkness. When she approached, he turned to her with a hollow expression and whispered, "The priest demands it." Elena realized with horror that Sam was no longer himself. He had been possessed by the spirit of a Mayan priest who once served in the temple. The priest's voice grew stronger, urging Elena to return the amulet to Xibalba. But at what cost? Could she save Sam, or was he lost forever? Just as Elena thought they were alone in the jungle, they heard the distant sound of voices, A rival group of treasure hunters had arrived, led by a ruthless mercenary named Victor Kane. Kane was determined to claim the amulet for himself, and he wouldn't hesitate to kill anyone who stood in his way. Elena knew she couldn't trust him, but with Sam growing weaker by the day, she had no choice but to consider an alliance. Kane's men were well armed and relentless, and they seemed to know more about the amulet than Elena did. Could she outwit Kane, or would he betray her at the first opportunity? While exploring a hidden chamber beneath the temple ruins, Elena and Sam were pulled into a dark, otherworldly realm. This place resembled the Mayan underworld, Xibalba, a labyrinth of twisting tunnels, rivers of blood, and endless darkness. They soon realized they were being tested by the gods of the underworld, each trial more deadly than the last. One wrong move could mean eternal imprisonment in this nightmarish realm. The amulet's light flickered weakly, as if even it was struggling against the darkness. Elena knew they had to pass the trials to escape, but the cost of failure was unthinkable. As they reached the heart of the temple, Elena learned the terrible truth. To seal the temple and prevent the awakening of an ancient evil, a sacrifice was required. A life for a life. The amulet demanded it. Elena was faced with an impossible choice: sacrifice herself to save the world, or make an unthinkable decision that would haunt her forever. The jungle seemed to hold its breath as she weighed her options, knowing that whatever she chose, the consequences would be dire. The amulet's light grew brighter, as if urging her to act. But could she pay the